We're live. What's going on,
There we go.
everybody?
Hello, hello. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, man.
Yes, sir.
Episode 19, Pacific Sports Talk Radio. Going to be talking about West Coast sports on the best podcast for that sort of thing, and then also covering a little around the league. What's going on, Dean? How was your weekend?
Oh, long weekend.
It's Barry Bonds here.
What a good weekend. Yeah, big 2-5. Good times.
Yeah, happy belated, buddy.
Thanks, man. You know, tequila and baseball. Good times.
Nice. All right, well, hey, let's get into the baseball that you watched really quickly. Were you able to catch any of those Giants games?
I caught the. What was the one they lost 1-0? I caught that one.
That was the
Was it
first.
the second one or the first one?
That was the first one, yeah.
Okay, sorry, it's a little bit of a blur.
No, you're good, man.
So the first one, yeah, they had a couple. They didn't get that many guys in scoring position, but like, I don't know. I said going into it, man, the Marlins don't have like a scrubbed starting pitching pen, you know.
Yeah.
Those 5 dudes, man. I saw their one of their guys who won against the Giants. He's like 24, 25, and he's like 6'4", and he almost outdueled DeGrom in New York. It's like, wow. He's throwing 97 in the 6th inning, and I was like, wow, this guy's got some gas. So
It's impressive.
yeah. I like their start. I think the Giants have a better, hitting. They have better hitting, but the bats just kind of fell silent with runners in scoring position. I know you saw the bullpen blow it, which has been our fears all season. In the second or third game, what happened there?
Yeah, so I mean that's ultimately the series, right? So the Marlins won game 1. They won 4-1. It was a 1-0 game for a while, and then they closed it out. And then game 2, it was the Giants' game to lose. They got a clutch home run from Slater, and Brandon Belt, of all people, hit one on your birthday.
Oh, jeez.
He hit the go-ahead home run. Oh, no, he hit the go-ahead. He had a big day, actually. Belt was 2 for 5, but had 2 huge RBIs. Oh, he had a go-ahead. He had a solo shot, and then he had an RBI double. But what was ridiculous, if you watch the tape on it, he clears the gap with runners on first and third. And it was obviously the guy should have scored from first base, and they held him up. And then that was pretty much the game because the bullpen that they had in there, Garcia and McGee also gave up 2 runs apiece.
Oh, McGee gave up runs? Oh.
McGee was getting hit. They should have pulled him out. And then the guy that they replaced McGee with was Garcia, who...
they replaced... Because that's how it happened? Oh, shoot. So they didn't even want to play Garcia, right? Because
no.
McGee blew the save.
Yeah.
And then they put in Garcia. Okay. Yeah, we were talking about Garcia in the first game they played, and he hasn't pitched since, and there's a reason for it. And we were talking on the phone, I remember when we were watching in the first go-round, the first game in the Mariners series. And he walked the guy, and then you saw it in his face. It was like a look of panic. And then he starts walking guys, man. I'd rather you, like, challenge a guy in the zone, man. Like, get beaten like that. Like, you walking guys.
Yeah, he walked the guy. He walked.
That's so, like, soft. That's so soft.
Well, it's
like,
not even him walking people because he wants to. It's because he really lacks the control. So he walked a guy in his second outing here against the Marlins, and then he hit a guy, beamed a guy, put 2 guys on the base for free, and then 2 hits sealed the deal.
But it's what did he? Do you remember those pitches that he walked guys on?
I mean, he just doesn't have really great.
Was it the slider? Was it the slider?
I think honestly, it's a slider and his fastball. Like, I mean, he has good stuff, right? Why would he be in the
He
MLB?
walked. He walked three guys on that slider,
Yeah,
and
well, he
when they
has a
played the
fast.
Mariners.
He has his fastball, but he has. Yeah, you're right. He has no control of the slider.
He has no, and but he doesn't trust his fastball like someone homering it. You see it, he doesn't trust it. He feels like he's gonna miss, so he throws the slider, and instead of giving up hits, he gives up walks, which is just like, oh, it's so deflating. God, I hate
And then
walks.
finally, when it was time to come inside and throw some strikes, the guy hits a gapper, walk off. See you later. So that was pretty much the series. Both series that the Giants have lost so far this year, they've only lost two series, right?
Mariners and the Marlins.
Mariners
The
and the
last one and
Marlins.
the very first one.
The first one, and you look to two specific games, right? They
Uh-huh.
both went to the 10th inning. They both finished. One was 7-8. The other one was 6-7, which was Saturday. And
Yeah.
they're just bullpen blow-ups. Other than that, the Giants have been solid. They're up 2-0 against the Phillies right now. I think it's not the biggest deal. It's pretty much just don't throw Garcia out there in a time of need.
I'm pretty happy with where they were because our biggest fears was the bullpen, but they've really. Do they have 9 or 10 wins? They had 9 wins.
They're at 9 right now.
Okay, they're at 9 wins. That's pretty solid. They beat the Padres in a series. That's huge.
Yeah.
They beat the Reds, who are slamming home runs this year. The Mariners are 10-6. I'm not worried about losing to them. The Marlins have a terrible record, but the Marlins aren't as bad. It's that they have really good starting pitching. Like I don't know the exact statistics, but they got to be top 8, top 7 in the league from their starters.
Yeah.
They can't hit very well, but I've been pretty proud of them. Like they've probably won like 3 or 4 more games than I thought they would have by this time of the year.
Yeah, no, they're doing well, and if they get their bullpen issues under control, I mean, that means they wouldn't have lost a single series. They really shouldn't have lost a single series yet, you know?
Yeah. Well, what's nice is every single series they've been in it, like 2 of the 3 games, which is all you can ask for, right? Like that's like you're not getting blown out, you know. I think they can really only trust like. Oh man, I don't trust. Is Moretto or what's his name? I can't. Guy that looks like Pablo Sandoval, but he's one of the pitchers.
I know you're talking about the heavier set
That
guy.
that guy's pretty solid, but he's like the 1 or 2 out guy, you know, like he's a setup guy. But him and McGee are really the only 2 guys I trust in their bullpen. I don't trust the Submariner. He's blown a couple saves or blown a couple games.
He's actually picked it up recently. I didn't like him either from the start, but he's picked it up. And he's brought his ERA down quite a bit. He's at .71.
Oh, okay.
So
there were just those 2 games where he gave up 2 run at each.
But they weren't.
I mean,
they weren't his runs though, right? He was getting put into situations where they were other people's runs.
One time he gave up a home run. But yeah. I mean, he's only given up 1 run that's his run.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the bullpen. I don't. Gabe is still a little sketchy with me. I don't know if I trust Kepler, man. I don't know if I trust his decisions.
You're talking about Peralta, right?
Yes, him.
Wandy Peralta. Yeah, he's good.
He's been I think he's pitched like 5 times. He's been pretty solid every time.
Yeah. I mean, McGee's pretty solid, but I think he's just getting that work, you know.
Oh no, I like McGee. That's his first bad game he's had all year, right?
Well, he's thrown 8 innings, 2.16 ERA, so it's not terrible. Obviously, you'd like it to be lower as your closer.
Your closer, yeah. Well, he's given up 4 runs, really.
I mean, all he really does is he just throws heat. So
I know he's thrown 7 up in the zone.
I'd like to see a little more diversity with his pitches. If he could get like a cutter or something.
You know what the problem with being like that? If the first guy gets on in the inning, that's a big deal, man. That's a big for a guy that only throws fastballs. You know, if you don't get the first guy out, you're in trouble. I feel like, you know.
Yeah, you want to elaborate on that?
Well, you have. I just think the guys up there are just looking for fastballs. If you don't get the leadoff guy off early, I don't know. I feel like the confidence goes up. I don't know. I just with a guy that can only throw fastballs, I feel like like Aroldis Chapman. You know when we played Aroldis, not we, the Giants.
Yeah.
They were able to get when they came back in who was he on the Cubs?
He was on the Reds.
He was on the Reds, but they were. You remember they got the first runner on. I don't know if he walked or he got a base hit, but it stood that whole rally. I don't know.
It was like an infield hit, maybe.
It's a big deal with the guy that just throws fastballs. I don't know.
No, I hear you.
As long as I've been watching baseball.
I hear you.
So.
And I definitely think that like McGee is definitely like way better than our previous one pitch closer with the fastball, which Hunter Strickland, who was just absolutely terrible. But I just think that at the big leagues, he was
terrible.
At the big leagues, you know, there's a reason why it's Major League Baseball. You got to be able to throw. I think, in my opinion, at least 2 to 3 pitches that are different speeds to keep the batters on their off their heels.
And be solid in those 2 pitches. Like have decent to pretty good control of both of them.
Control is all you need. All right. Yeah, Garcia crossed up the catcher quite a bit again. That's sketch. Posey wasn't out there.
Why is he? I know he's got like some velocity, but his confidence must be shot. His only 2 games he's been put into, he's been like killed. Like you can kill the confidence in a bullpen pitcher pretty easily. And I don't think he's very confident after those 2 outings.
No, I don't think so either. All right.
Yeah.
All right, man. Let's switch gears and talk about Trey Lance, who just had his pro day today. I caught a little bit of it, but you said that you caught some.
I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched parts of it. So the Falcons, Broncos, Patriots, and Niners were there. Those were the only teams. And they were running a bunch of plays out of the Niners playbook. And Kyle kind of had control of the whole pro day. Shanahan. And you know who's out there running routes for him?
Who?
Jordan Matthews.
Oh, really?
Jordan Matthews is out there, yeah.
Oh, savage.
Yeah. So they brought, and I feel like, and I was listening to Haberman and Milcott, I think that's a pretty good, Kyle trusts Jordan Matthews. He's a pro.
He's obviously on our team for a little bit.
And I bet that's like very good, like an assessment out of a veteran wide receiver, because he probably talked to Kyle, and Kyle can trust Jordan to not say anything, because like the Niners have picked him up off waivers twice. He has no other options. He's probably like with the Niners right now because he wants to be end of bench and then like be a coach. Like Wes Welker is. He's the receiving coach for the Niners, and I feel like that's where Jordan Matthews' career is going. So I don't think he would tell the media what Kyle thinks about Trey Lance. So. He still got it. He was throwing good. He was running good routes, but man, Trey Lance, dude, he's got it's hard for me to say this because I love Justin Fields so much, but I think Trey Lance is the biggest athletic freak out of all 5 of them.
I don't really see the Kaepernick comparisons that people were drawing.
Kaepernick wasn't accurate at all.
Yeah, I think
Kaepernick. And you know what else? Kaepernick ran the pistol offense. Do you know the pistol?
Yeah.
You line up. You know the pistol, right?
Yeah.
That's not what Trey Lance runs. Trey Lance runs pro, man. Like, what are you talking about?
I think honestly, it's because he's a light-skinned dude that has a similar haircut. He looks like him.
He's tall.
He's tall.
Tall.
He's got similar tattoos, but I think it's just so stereotypical.
And he's got a cannon, but I don't know.
It's literally just the media stereotyping him like, oh, it's like put him into a box. The Niners had a light-skinned quarterback. He looks kind of like him. Let's just put him in there.
I think the other comps better. I think Josh Allen. He does remind me of Josh Allen. Small school. Even though Wyoming is FBS
and to touch on some of his throws, man, like Kaepernick never had that.
No, when Kaepernick was every time I saw Kaepernick throw, it's like he was shot putting it. He's like, pow! Like,
yeah, I know.
It was like he's shot putting the football. It's like, bro, you have no spiral on that thing. It's a duck, but it's like a duck coming at you 70 miles an hour. So how do you catch that?
He's running around like a fucking shortstop trying to get the guy out at first. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Colin Kaepernick was like 6'6", so he's like definitely way taller than all these guys. But like, I don't see the comp.
Wait, Cap was 6'6"?
6'5" or 6'6", man. He's huge.
Really?
He played basketball at Reno too.
No way. 6'4".
I thought he was 6'5".
I mean, he was an athlete, but
I don't know. I thought it was 6'5". I don't know how much I trust Wiki.
Yeah,
because I saw him stand next to Alex Smith, and Alex Smith is 6'4", and he looked taller than Alex Smith.
I mean, you could be right. Yeah, I think honestly, dude, you look at Trey Lance, he's jacked. He's got those similar tattoos on his bicep, and people are just like, oh, he looks like Trey Lance or Colin Kaepernick.
He's like, is he the youngest guy out of all five guys? Isn't he like 20? I think he's the youngest guy.
Yeah,
out
I
of
think
all
so.
Five of them, right?
Yeah.
Like he's a baby, so. Yeah, man, he really impressed. I wasn't as impressed as. Granted, I watched all of Justin Fields' pro day, but. Yeah,
I don't think there's a chance that he goes outside top 5.
Oh, if the Niners don't pick him, I think the Falcons are going to pick him.
Yeah, he's not falling down to the Patriots at 10.
No, that's going to be Mac Jones. Mac Jones is going to be down there. I don't even, you know what though, respect to Mac Jones, I don't even think he's going to go like 10th. I think he's going to go 8th or 9th, and someone's going to have to trade up further.
You think the Panthers take him?
The Panthers wanted him originally before they traded for Darnold, and they're playing like a little mind game. Did you see, the coach of them is Baylor's old coach, and he's like, well, we're still looking, we might pick Mac Jones. Like, after just getting Darnold, like, who are you trying to play, bro? You're just trying to trade back. Like, I think they're trying to get value, though, and trade back, So, I don't know if Mac Jones will be there at 10. I think 8 or 9, man. I do think – I don't think it's going to be higher than 8 or 9, though, because Pitts, Jamar Chase, and Devontae Smith, and then the other quarterbacks, and that's – what is that, 6 or 7 guys? That's about – that is 7, I think.
Those are locks.
Well, Kyle Pitts is definitely going to go. That guy's a freak, the tight end. Jamar Chase Jamar Chase would have gone first wide receiver last year too. Like, he sat out. He's going to go in the top 6 or 7. And then I think Devontae Smith has the carry, after winning the Heisman, man, to get in the top 7. And then the 4 other quarterbacks. So I think it's going to be 8 or 9 for Mac Jones.
Hey, so good assessment there, Dean.
The Broncos really need a quarterback in their 9th. So.
Yeah, facts.
Okay,
the Broncos, unless they want to deal with Locke for another year. So.
No, I think they're done.
Yeah,
they're done. That's come and gone.
Yeah. So I'm just curious, man. So we got the COVID year. Everything's different. There's no what's it called? Blanking out on the word when they have everyone
off season.
No, they have everyone together for the the players running
The combine.
there's no
Combine.
combine. Thanks. There's no combine.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's because they're doing these second pro days. That's why
yeah,
they
yeah,
usually don't do all these pro
yeah,
days.
yeah. So Skip Bayless, I listened to him and Shannon, and Skip Bayless says, "You know how I feel about these pro days. I think they're a next pretty much just a waste of time. You're going out there watching him throw, getting defended by who? Air. He's like, at least when you go to a combine, they're getting competitive kind of aspects with.
They don't match up against anyone in a combine either.
I
That's
know,
a
but he was
ludicrous
saying it
statement.
was his point, which made no sense. And I know what's the point of going over a Skip Bayless point, but I'm just doing it anyway here because we're kind of out of material. I'm curious to know. What,
Just tell the people.
I'm curious. I'm curious to know what you think of the pro day because personally, I like seeing their skill set and certain throws they can make. Skip Bayless just seems salty because his Cowboys aren't selecting a quarterback. So you just get me in on this.
One thing I do agree with Skip in that I don't think they really build up these pro days like and I know they carry more weight right now because the combine's not happening, but like I do get his point. I think the season body of work is way more important than the pro days. Like a pro day should not sway your draft pick. You should not. You should just see, and it should make you confident in who you picked. Like a pat on the back. Like it's not. You're not supposed to change your. Because he's right. You are facing no one out there. I do agree with him that pro days for quarterbacks are very. They're overvalued and over talked about, by the media.
Yeah.
I do agree with them there,
Yeah.
but and I do think the combine gives you a little bit better results, but it's not that much. It's not drastic. Like, geez, so dramatic. I think their season footage is the most important thing. Their tape. So
okay, so then talking about season footage, a lot of the things that people like about Trey Lance is the fact that at North Dakota State they ran a very pro-ready offense where Trey Lance was making calls at the line, making switches.
Yeah, that was big. He was calling his own audibles. That's for a guy that's 20 years old. Actually, he was 19 doing that. He was 19 doing that because this last year they didn't even play. They played one game.
So he's 19. So you know what I look at it, Dean?
He's 19 years old out there. No FBS school gave him a scholarship to play quarterback. Minnesota wanted him to play safety. He's from Minnesota. He said no, F that. He goes to North Dakota State. He becomes the starting quarterback as a freshman, and they win out and win the national championship. And he calls his own audibles.
Dude, you know what I look at like
that's a big deal.
You know what I look at like being able to like call audibles. Like all the different aspects that you take out of a player's abilities. Like it's like when Facebook's looking at an employee and they're like, all right, can this guy code? Can this guy do work with other people? All these different things as like a professional. Him being able to call those audibles, it's like, oh, this guy can code C++. All right, he's on to the next. We're gonna circle his name. I don't know. It means that he's just more pro ready. Do you think that that's a significant factor comparing him to like guys like Justin Fields?
No, they were talking. Oh, well, Justin Fields knows his stuff too, but they were really impressed. I was listening to a bunch of pods, and they were all saying that the one thing, like Trey Lance is so high, not just because of his athleticism, but in all of the team interviews, they basically give the quarterback a Sharpie, and they're like, draw out this, and like, what would you do? And they they do situations.
Like
they're
a quiz, like a quiz, yeah.
Yeah, but you got to go on the board and like it's like math, right? Essentially. And like every team that did that with him was completely impressed with him. Like he knows the X's and O's. He's really smart, really cerebral, really cerebral. And he impressed a lot of teams, man, in those little meetings. So I do think that's a big deal. because they're like, "What? How's a 20-year-old doing this?" And he's at such quick response time, and yeah, I think it's a big deal. It's
You know who's impressive with the X's and O's? Coach Mariucci had this segment with your guy Jalen Hurts. He was really impressive with that knowledge a couple years back. I don't know. Did you catch that? Did you hear about that or no?
which what does all those little like, oh, this is what he's doing here.
Yeah,
Why?
he's talking about it. He's like, "What would you do?" And I was super impressed. Anyways, I know I'm off topic here, but
No, I see him do. I usually watch his like defensive lineman ones. Those are pretty
okay.
interesting. I haven't watched his quarterback ones. No.
John Gruden has some good ones too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, Gruden was before when he was in kind of half retirement, he was the quarterback whisperer. He was the one that said Russell Wilson was going to be a beast.
So back to the Trey Lance. A lot of teams around the league were impressed with his knowledge.
Yeah. Yes.
He had a pretty solid pro day.
Oh, very impressive. Justin Fields probably had the most. He had the second most impressive pro day.
Wow. Would you put Justin Fields above Zach Wilson, or are you just not bringing up his name because there's no point?
Zach Wilson made some crazy. Zach Wilson had probably the the most impressive pro day to date. But I don't know. When I see him out there though, he's not. It's not that he's not athletic, but he's not like a beast like these other two guys.
He doesn't really have like, I don't know. He's got that like.
He's tall. I mean, he's not tall. He's 6'3". Him and Justin Fields are the same height. Trey Lance is 6'4", I believe.
He doesn't give me that chip on his shoulder vibe, and I know you don't need that as a quarterback these days. But like, he's just smiling out there, having a good time, right?
You know who he looks like? He kind of looks like the Karate Kid. He kind of looks like Billy Zapta with that headband that he always wears.
Dude, he looks like dude, he looks like a Disney Channel original character, like actor for his movie. So there's a movie called.
You took that off of Twitter. I read that.
Did you see those memes? Did you see those memes, dude? It literally looks like
yeah, because it's 100% true. Yeah, he looks like he's 14 playing an 18-year-old or something. Like yeah. He's just like a little baby. But I don't know. I mean he had the most impressive throws. I mean, and I think he was like 66 of 66 in his throws, but. Again, pro days don't matter that much, I don't think. I think the tape matters the most. And, I mean, Jamarcus Russell had an insane pro day. That guy threw the ball like 75 yards. And we all know what happened to Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah, you can't buy too much in the pro day. Just assess everything.
Worst work ethic ever. Yeah.
You got to assess everything. And I'm sure that's what they're doing right now.
It's like a cherry on top. It shouldn't sway how you feel about who you're drafting. Like the pro day, it doesn't matter that much. I agree with Skip on that, but the combine only boosts. The combine doesn't boost quarterbacks. The combine boosts skill position, speed. I mean,
unless you're a running quarterback.
Position, but I mean, the 40 matters. Yeah, but I think the combine. When I think of the combine, I think of O-line, D-line, and bench, and the shuttle for the O-line and D-line. And I think of the 40 for DBs and wide receivers. That's what I think of when I think of the combine.
Yeah.
I really don't think of anything else. Those are the big ones.
No, that's pretty solid, Dean. All right, well, hey, Trey Lance had a good day. We'll see where that hype takes him. I don't really put too much into thought there. I think the Niners are going to stick with Fields. But it does make things interesting heading into next week's draft.
Yeah, well, next Thursday, 29th.
It's crazy.
I'd be completely fine with either of them. I do think, again, if they pick Trey Lance, you need to keep Jimmy. He needs to sit for a year. I wouldn't throw him into the fire. He's 20 years old, so.
Totally. I feel you on that.
But if you pick Justin Fields, goodbye, Jimmy.
Later, buddy.
Yeah.
All right,
Indeed.
so last topic here of the day, the NBA. Warriors are on right now, as you said. I was able to catch the game that they played over the weekend against the Celtics, where Steph dropped 47, and they still came up short.
Did Tatum
Um,
get like 42 in that game too?
yeah, it was definitely a duel. It's one of those highlight reel games from both sides, from both stars. Um,
Yeah, I heard the turnovers killed the Warriors in that game. I watched
yeah,
part of it.
turnovers were terrible. It kind of felt, it was kind of grim because it was just, and it's happened so much this season as you've witnessed. Just seeing Steph play so like out of his mind.
It's not even the amount of points that he scores. It's how effing efficient he is. Like
How
you're
hard he's
wasting.
playing.
Well, but it's not like Kobe going out there in the last couple of years like shooting 30%. It's like he's been shooting
He's
over
7 of
42
12.
percent from
He's like
three.
10
Like
of 13 from three. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
his efficiency and on his drives, his efficiency and his free throw, as you said, is like 92. Like it's just wasting these just unforgettable games. Like oh man, it's just they can't stop him. He's getting triple teamed and his teammates just let him down. It's infuriating. It's
And it still kind of baffles me that he's not being looked at for MVP. He literally.
Well, I was wrong last time we talked, so sorry to cut you off. But he's actually in the running for the scoring title. He's only .1 average.
No, I said
Beal's
that. I said that.
Did you say that?
Yeah, I talked about that on stream.
Oh, okay. Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, he was one. He was very close to Bradley Beal, as I mentioned. So
It's
today,
30.1 to 30.
today at half, he's got 20 points, 4 of 8 from three.
Yeah. They're winning right now, I think, right?
It's tied up.
Oh, okay. Ben Simmons is out.
Damian Lee is productive today. That's nice to see.
Yeah. They were actually I was watching the first quarter and Steph had like 4 turnovers. Like he came out kind of sloppy.
Uber is off. Uber is off the bench. Wow.
Well, he was questionable because he's hurt. So
I think their offense actually looked better when I watched them play the Celtics. Just letting Steph run things and not having Oubre on there missing open threes. It almost looked better with Oubre off of the court than on. I don't know.
I don't know. I like Oubre when he doesn't settle for threes. When he's more aggressive and he's driving and dunking. He dunked on Embiid in the first quarter. It was crazy, and he got fouled.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I don't know. I like Oubre. I think he needs to only take like 2 or 3 threes a game, though.
Yeah.
Like I know he's coming up clutch sometimes in the fourth quarter, making those shots, but I don't feel comfortable with him shooting over 3 threes a game.
Bro, I'm convinced Oubre would be a star in 2006.
2006.
Yeah.
I don't think he's that old school. I don't know.
No, he just can't really shoot the three that well. So I mean, back in those days,
he's not that bad. He's not that bad.
I know,
he's
but you only
saying.
need to average like 3 threes attempted, and in those days, like just drive it. I don't know. His game's definitely older than most.
Yeah,
I think he'd be a baller in 06. He's great now, but I'm just saying, there's some players that just they missed their era. Like Steph hit his era on the fucking dot.
he's I think Kelly could play in any era, in basically any sport, because he's one of the best athletes in the NBA, and that means he's one of the best athletes in all of sports.
Yeah.
Like he's 6'7". I can't imagine what his 40 is. That guy runs so fast. But yeah, it is. The 3-pointer has kind of changed everything. I don't think he's that. I don't know. I guess he'd be better in 2006. I wouldn't go as far as saying he missed his, generate. I think that's a little excessive.
I'm not. I didn't say that. I said he would be a star. He's not a star today.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah.
Okay, so anyways, the Warriors struggled. Any thoughts you got on that other than the fact that Steph put everything he had cooking.
Yeah, I just there's no consistency with the bench, so it's kind of exhausting watching them. Like, there's probably been like 7 games this year where the bench has played well the whole game, and the rest of them they've just been totally inconsistent. They'll show up for the first quarter and then not for the rest of the game. They'll show up in the fourth quarter when they didn't show up for the first 3 quarters, and it's too late, and they're useless. Too little, too late.
Yeah,
they need to really, their 3-point shooting isn't consistent. Bazemore is like the most consistent 3-point shooter off the bench, which is just super sad. Even though he's having the best year, like, if Baze isn't shooting a corner 3, I don't want him shooting a 3. He gets 3 happy, and then the reach-in fouls are just, God, man. When they start fouling, it's just, Kent Bazemore is, I think he's first or second for guards and fouls in the entire league because he reaches in. I know he's got length and he gets steals, but it's just I feel like the Warriors are at their best when they're out and running. When they get into these half court games, when they over foul, it's just they're going to lose. They just lose every time. So, Draymond hasn't been consistent. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. I don't know what else to say. They're disappointing a lot. I have very low expectations for them, so I don't get upset.
Yeah, we'll have to see where Steph can take this team to. He's probably going to get another 40 points tonight the way he's playing.
Was on pace, yeah.
Yeah, man.
At this rate, I saw in the jump today they were talking about maybe it's going to be Luka versus Steph in the play-in games. That would be exciting.
Wow.
That'd be a crazy play-in game.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
High scoring.
Yep.
I think I would bet on Luka and Steph to have monster games.
Oh, if Steph gets into the play-in game, he's gonna have to score 40 points for them to be in the damn game. So I would be confident to parlay him to score 40 points in any of the play-in games. He's gonna have to just go, inferno, just because they have no other shot, they have no other shooting. So
it just seems like there's just been some like agreement that like this unspoken agreement between the Warriors where they're just letting Steph off the chains. They're just like, all right, just score, man. Because like in the first half of the season, it seemed like they were trying the ball movement thing. They were trying to work as an offensive unit.
They don't have enough shooting. They're not consistent. You have to have the personnel to run that offense. It's like why everyone was trying to copy the Warriors. Forget the KD stuff. You don't have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. That's why people couldn't beat them. They were trying to play their system with not subpar shooting, but sub Steph and Klay shooting, and you're just going to lose. You're playing into their hands. So, but when the Warriors, when they don't have Klay out there and they try playing that offense, it's just, you know when you're watching these Warriors, it's like when you see these guys miss wide open threes, it's like those were going down when they were winning. Like missing wide open threes, the Warriors miss a lot of wide open threes. Like probably like 4 or 5 a game. Like when no one's around them. And the great teams, they hit those wide open threes. Because that's the difference in the game. That's 10, 15 points.
Completely, Dean.
So F the rest of the team at 3-point shooting. I don't want any of those bums shooting. I'd rather have Steph shoot the whole game.
I don't know why Draymond takes threes, man.
He has to. I get why Draymond takes it when he's wide open. But if it's late, if it's the second half, I don't want him taking that three. At the top of the key that he gets. It's like, fine, you could do it in the first 2 quarters. Don't be freaking shooting that in the third or fourth quarter. So.
No, I totally agree with you, Dean. Well, hey, I'm pretty much content with what we had to go on the show today. How you feeling?
Yeah, we got through more than I thought. Yeah, that was solid.
Our shortest show to date at 39 minutes, but not not our worst. Our shortest, but not our worst. I enjoyed what we had to talk about today, Dean, on episode 19.
I thought we were pretty efficient.
Yeah.
Efficient with
Oh,
that.
yeah. I was trying to think of a clever way to close it, but honestly, on this Monday, on this hoodie Monday, I just
You know, it's a long Monday when it's a hoodie Monday, man.
hoodie Mondays, man, make it a thing. All right,
Yep.
all right, Dean. Well, it was good hanging out.
Yeah, good talk.
Let
Thanks
that
for joining
let that
us,
Everlong play, and I'll see you later, man.